Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. There is a TJ Watt scenario that is very possible that nobody is talking about right now that we'll talk about at the top of today's show. Then Terry McLaurin's situation with the Washington Commanders just got uglier today. Then we'll talk about ESPN's Peter Schrager, who says to watch out for this Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver this year. And then also ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum disrespects Big Ben Roethlisberger. Make sure you guys stick around to the end of today's show to see what Tannenbaum, that clown, had to say about number 7. But before we get into the content today, guys, we did put out a video yesterday where I broke down the Jauan Jennings situation. He asked for either an extension or a trade from the San Francisco 49ers before this season. I break down his skill set, why I think he's a really good fit with the Steelers, and what it would cost to potentially land him here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already to never miss any of our videos, and also make sure to put that video, that link to that in the comments and description of today's show, as well as the chip in the top right. All right, so now let's get into our first topic of the day here, which is another possibility that could happen for TJ Watt in this whole saga that is unfolding right now that not a lot of people are kind of talking about. A lot of people talk about the possibility of an extension getting done, and a lot of people talk about the possibility of him being traded, but there's not a whole lot of people putting up the idea here that Watt is still under contract for one more season, and there's still a possibility that he ends up playing on that final year of his current deal and he becomes a free agent next year. And the thinking behind this, guys, is that this is a very pivotal year for the Pittsburgh Steelers where, they don't know what the future of this franchise is going to hold, whether they're going to continue to try and win Super Bowls in the years to come and try to continue to be in win now mode, or whether they're going to rebuild, fire Mike Tomlin, draft a new franchise quarterback, all those different things. And if everything crashes and burns to the ground here this season, both sides might prefer to not be tied down. TJ might not want to be tied up long-term in a franchise that's just starting over, and the Steelers might not want to have a 30-plus-year-old edge rusher on the roster if they are rebuilding. So you take a look at the 2025 financials for TJ Watt on the final year of his contract. He is set to make just over $21 million in cash this year, but with some of the rolling over bonus stuff from the signing bonus on a restructure, the cap hit for the Steelers is $30.4 million this season if they don't do anything with his contract, no extension, no restructure, or anything like that. And the risk for Pittsburgh in this particular scenario is if TJ Watt really balls out this year and the edge rusher market continues to go up, they may be stuck having to pay more for Watt in future seasons if they want to bring him back. And then the risk for Watt in doing this potential road here is that if he has a down year and he regresses this year, if he gets injured, he risks making less money on his next contract, less than potentially what's on this table right now that the Pittsburgh Steelers are offering to him in an extension here this season. But I think both sides would probably prefer to get an extension done, and I do think that this is far and away the most likely scenario at this point. I think TJ wants to get an extension done this offseason because he doesn't want to run that risk, and I think the Steelers want to make TJ Watt a Steeler for life, so that is still far and away the most likely scenario here. And Pittsburgh does benefit from an extension here because they can lower his cap hit in 2025. Right now, it's over $30 million just for TJ Watt right now. If you make that extension happen, you can lower that cap hit for Watt and open up other cap opportunities at the trade deadline and even free agency before the start of the season. And then for TJ Watt's purposes, he gets more cash this season. He's only slated to get just over $21 million in cash this year. If he gets an extension done, he can get more cash in his pocket this season if he gets that deal done. However, I think that, this is much more likely than a trade. I think it's much more likely that TJ Watt plays out the final year of his contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers than he does say I'm not playing for you this year if you don't give me an extension. I think that TJ wants to play this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he understands the opportunity that is in front of this team with Cam Hayward and Aaron Rodgers and all the new players that they brought in like Jalen Ramsey. And I think the bottom line is the Pittsburgh Steelers need Watt to be on the team this year if they're going to accomplish their short-term goals of winning a Super Bowl before some of their older players like Cam Hayward and Aaron Aaron Rodgers retire. That's the current focus of the organization, is winning now, and you can't do that, in my opinion, without TJ Watt. We have covered the reasons why that is on this show extensively, so I won't go over those reasons again. But in the end, I do think that an extension will get done between these two sides. I think it'll be close towards the start of training camp, if not just after. I really hope this doesn't extend all the way to like the start of the season or something like that, like it did in 2021. I want TJ Watt out there to build chemistry with some of these new players that are on the defense, and I want him to be ready to go for what's really going to be a pivotal season for the black and gold this year. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. What is the percent chance that TJ Watt gets a new deal before the start of the season with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 for me down there in the comments section. This will be the pinned question on today's show. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. And while I'm talking about Mando today, put the chances of Watt getting an extension before the season on a scale of 0 to 100. Now let's talk about our sponsor today at Mando. And guys, have you ever stepped outside and felt like you're instantly drenched in sweat? It gets hot out there in Latrobe at Steelers training camp, and this year I'm trusting Mando Whole Body Deodorant to keep me fresh no matter how hot it gets this summer. If you've been struggling with the heat and humidity like I have great news for you. Mando has just launched something that takes sweat control to the next level. Introducing the Mando Deodorant Plus Sweat Control Solid Stick. It's double protection. Finally, you get the odor control you love with Mando, plus powerful sweat control. Don't wait. Grab yours now at shopmando.com and experience the double protection of Mando Deodorant plus sweat control. And just to show you guys that I actually use this product, I actually brought my stick from home. I also use their body wash every single day in the shower. I love their bourbon leather scent. I think it smells absolutely fantastic, but they also have a whole line of products with a bunch of different scents like Pro Sport, Mount Fuji. They got a bunch of different scents for you guys to choose from, and you guys can try out Mando today with their starter pack, which is perfect for new customers because it comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice. Like you can get a mini body wash, which I highly recommend, or you guys can get the deodorant wipes, which are highly recommended as well. Plus, you get free shipping, so there's no risk involved. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. That's shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control, so say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness with our friends at Mando today. So now let's shift over here to Terry McLaurin, a very popular name in Steelers trade rumors nowadays on Steelers Twitter. And the Commanders wide receiver voiced his frustration with the media today in a press conference, detailing his frustration with the extension talks he's been having, or lack thereof, with the Washington Commanders. This is what Scary Terry had to say earlier today. I've been pretty frustrated, and I'm not going to lie. Everything that has transpired up until this point has been disappointing and frustrating. I've wanted to continue my career in Washington. I've created my life here. My wife and I bought our first home here. This has been somewhere I've always wanted to be. It feels like you have to beg for someone to see your worth and your value. You feel like you put that out every year in and year out. Everything from previous regimes to even now, I've done everything that's been asked of me. I'm not perfect at all. I've definitely made mistakes, but I've always led with the right foot, and I've tried to put myself in a position to be a person that can be valued and respected amongst coaches and his teammates, but also a dog on the field. I don't want that to get mistaken, and I feel like I'm one of the best receivers in this league. And it's not because of me just feeling that, but I've proven it, and I'm going to continue to work hard. So it doesn't really sound like Terry McLaurin sounds like he's leaving necessarily. It sounds like he really wants to return to Washington. The Commanders just aren't coming to the negotiating table at this point in time. He was also asked specifically about going to another football team. He does want to stay with the Washington Commanders, and he was even asked straight up, do you want to go somewhere else? And he's like, I haven't even thought about playing for another team. This is where I want to be. So that's kind of reason number one is why I don't think this is going to happen, guys. I don't think the Commanders plan on trading him, and I don't think Terry wants to be traded to another football team. But I also think that the Terry McLaurin situation is pretty similar to TJ Watt's, where, if you feel like Terry McLaurin's available via trade, you have to also say that TJ Watt's available for trade for other teams, because Terry and TJ are both playing for teams trying to win now. Both of them are trying to get money, and both teams are kind of not coming to the table on their respective deals. So this is kind of like an identical situation here between TJ Watt and Terry McLaurin, and kind of like the TJ Watt situation, I don't expect Terry to get dealt by the Washington Commanders in the weeks to come before the season. Also, if McLaurin is traded, if the Commanders do come to that conclusion and decide, yeah, we're going to trade him away, I don't think it's going to be to Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh can give them the best possible package. They're going to be looking for a legit number one type of receiver in return for McLaurin, and unfortunately for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they can't really offer any wide receivers that the Washington Commanders would be interested in a trade. Of course, they traded for DK Metcalf this offseason. You can't really trade him away. They obviously believe in him, but you look at some of the other wide receivers in this group, like Calvin Austin III, I think is a good piece. He's not a number one wide receiver. Roman Wilson is not particularly ready to be a number one wide receiver either. I don't really see any other options at the wide receiver room that they can swap for Terry McLaurin that the Commanders would be interested in. Plus, even if they were able to find a trade package to land Terry, do the Pittsburgh Steelers really want to be paying two different wide receivers $33 million per season for the next several years, especially one like Terry McLaurin that just got past the age of 30? I honestly don't think the Steelers are all that interested in Terry McLaurin, guys, and as we've been discussing on this show, I think they believe in Calvin Austin III, and that's their plan moving forward. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you are enjoying today's show, it is the freest and easiest way to help out our channel, and it helps put this video in front of more Steelers fans like yourselves, so we greatly appreciate your guys' support there. And now we can move on to our next topic on today's show, which is that ESPN's Peter Schrager says to quote-unquote watch out for Steelers wide receiver Calvin Austin III to have a breakout season here in 2025. This is what Schrags had to say about the tiny Steelers wide receiver. We know about DK Metcalf. We know about Roman Wilson. Look out for Calvin Austin III. Apparently, he has had a really good spring, and they're very excited about him in the Arthur Smith offense. Aaron Rodgers is, of course, as accurate a quarterback as there is. Austin has wheels. You can hit him deep. He can hit him underneath. Calvin Austin, a guy whose name we've heard, but we didn't really consider one of those elite tier guys. Let's see him have a big year with DK Metcalf on the other side. So in my opinion, guys, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you guys know how I feel about Calvin Austin III. I think he's incredibly slept on as a receiving threat and one of the more underrated receivers in the National Football League. And people think because he's small, that he can't get open, that he's not an effective wide receiver. He can't be a number two receiver because of how small he is, but he is one of the more efficient wide receivers when he gets targeted in the National Football League. Just last year, when it came to passer rating when targeted, he led the entire division in the AFC North last year in passer rating when targeted. With 132.4. So when the Steelers did throw him the ball, he was absolutely super, super efficient. And that also shows in his yards per catch number, which was top 10 in the National Football League as well. 15.2 yards per catch in 2024 for Calvin Austin III. By the way, that number is higher than DK Metcalf's was last year. So from an efficiency standpoint, Calvin Austin III is one of the most efficient receivers in the game. And I kind of compare Calvin Austin's skill set to Darnell Mooney, because Mooney really had a breakout season last year in Atlanta as kind of a smaller type of wide receiver that thrives on the outside. Like Mooney, Austin can threaten you after the catch on underneath routes, can get open with his route running in the intermediate level. He's got better hands than people give him credit for. And then, of course, he's got the long speed to beat you over the top and be a vertical threat. You compare Darnell Mooney's final numbers in his final season there in Chicago, where he had a quarterback in Justin Fields that wasn't really looking at him because DJ Moore was the primary read most of the time. Mooney was the secondary read, and as we've discussed about Justin Fields on this channel ad nauseum, he doesn't get to his second read very often, and as a result, you didn't really see Darnell Mooney get that much production, just 414 yards in 2023 and only one touchdown. But then he goes to Atlanta. It's not like Atlanta has a great quarterback situation. It's Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix. picks in his rookie season, but, they look at him a lot more, and he gets almost 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, and, they're believing in him right now in Atlanta as their legit number 2 wide receiver next to Drake London. And you compare Darnell Mooney's numbers in 2023 with Justin Fields, a primary read-dependent quarterback, to Calvin Austin, who also had a pair of primary read-dependent quarterbacks in Russell Wilson and, of course, Justin Fields as well. And the numbers are very, very comparable. Even Austin's numbers are a little bit better, right? He had a couple more receptions, over 100 more yards. He had more touchdowns. He had the higher PFF grade. So Austin, in my opinion, has a chance to really have a breakout season this year as the Z wide receiver in Arthur Smith's offense. And, unlike Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, who would try to scramble or try to run if their first read wasn't there, Aaron Rodgers, knows that he has to live from the pocket, all right? He's not the same mobile type of guy that's going to go outside the pocket and make plays like he was early on in his career. He's one of the best mental processors in the National Football League, and if Calvin Austin is his secondary read and he's breaking open and that primary read is shut down, unlike Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, I have every confidence in the world Aaron Rodgers is going to find Calvin Austin III, and I think Calvin's going to have a hell of a season this year as this team's number 2 receiver. So before we get into our final topic today, guys, if you're enjoying today's show, consider clicking that subscribe button. We got daily Steelers videos on this channel for free every day, similar style to the one that we're doing today. We got breaking news coverage if the Steelers make a big move, weekly live shows, including weekly watch parties for every single Steelers game during the season. It's all 100% free, guys. So help us get to 90,000 subscribers. We just passed over 87,000 subscribers last week. Our next milestone is to get to 90,000 subscribers. So if you want to join the largest individually run Steelers program anywhere on YouTube, click that subscribe button right now. All right, so our final topic of the day, ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum, the local idiot there at ESPN, is back on his clown shit, man, because he said that there are 3 current quarterbacks, that he would rather have than Big Ben Roethlisberger. And the way that this kind of discussion came up was that he was comparing the 2004 quarterback class to the 2020 quarterback class as to which one was the greatest of all time. And he said he would rather have Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and Jordan freaking Love above Big Ben Roethlisberger, okay? A Steelers legend. This is what Tannenbaum had to say earlier today. If Ben Roethlisberger was in a group with Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and Jordan Love, I'm not sure I'm taking Ben over any of those guys. So let's just take a look at Big Ben Roethlisberger's resume here, because it's very, very impressive, right? 2 Super Bowl championships, 3 AFC championships, and of course 3 Super Bowl appearances because of those championships. 165 career wins is 5th all time. His 67% career win percentage is top 15 all time as well. He has over 64,000 career passing yards. That's 5th all time as well. And then his 418 career touchdowns is also top 10. So you're comparing Big Ben, somebody that's top 10 in all these categories, multiple-time Super Bowl champion, proven, clutch performer, versus Justin freaking Herbert, who has 0 playoff wins in 5 years. 0, all right? Like, Ben has 2 Super Bowl championships before Justin Herbert even has a playoff win, and Tannenbaum says that he would rather have him. No way in hell. Then you get Jalen Hurts, who won the Super Bowl last year. Great for him, but he needs a super team around him to win a Super Bowl, man. He needed Saquon Barkley to come in and finish 4th quarters for him last year. He needed the best defense in the league last year to be able to completely shut down Patrick Mahomes in that Chiefs offense last year. Now, he played great in that Super Bowl against a good Spags defense. He deserves credit for that, but there's no way in hell he's better than Big Ben Roethlisberger. And then Jordan Love, who has 8 good games in his 4-year NFL career. Give me a break, Mike Tannenbaum, man. He's not even a top 10 quarterback right now in the National Football League, in my opinion. And you can make an argument that Big Ben Roethlisberger is a top 10 quarterback in the history of the National Football League with the numbers that he put up in his NFL career. So I think, plain and simply, Mike Tannenbaum doesn't know what the hell he's talking about here. And this is just straight up blasphemy here, saying Jordan Love is better than Big Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, give me a break here, Mike. So what's your take? Let me know down there in the comment section. Is Big Ben Roethlisberger a top 10 quarterback all time? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section. I think you can make an argument that he is, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. That'll be it for today's edition of Steelers News and Rumors. We got more Steelers coverage coming your way tomorrow, guys, so click that subscribe button if you never want to miss a video as we get ready for the 2025 NFL season.